Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. I'm drinking Darjeeling green tea. It's pretty good, and I'm trying to drink more green tea just for health reasons occasionally. I greatly prefer a nice strong black tea with milk, but can't have it all every day. Anyway, I also thought that since I'm doing a Jane Austen July video, that it might be a little apropos because Jane Austen probably drank green tea. I don't think she drank Darjeeling green tea, but you know what? Whatever. And yeah, so it's a Jane Austen mug with a quote that I believe is from Northanger Abbey. So good times. And yeah, I'm doing a Jane Austen TBR, a very much impossible, theoretical, possible but not possible. I said impossible already. It could happen. It probably won't happen. When I say that, I'm not trying to be negative about my choices. What I'm saying is, I doubt with my current speed of reading that I'll get to all of these. But as I've said many times when I've done one of my impossible pile of possibilities TBRs, doesn't really matter because I'm going to have these possibilities and work with them. There's also at least one book that I'm expecting from the library, an ebook that hasn't arrived yet. So I may be adding more things, I may be changing things around as time goes on, but this is where I'd like to focus on, and I think I think I'll at least make some of these work for myself. And my cat is now on top of me because he wants to be in the video, sort of. Anyway, um, so I love Jane Austen July. I love Jane Austen. She is still my favorite writer, and I look forward to reading her at any time. But July, I've said this before, broken record, but one of the reasons why I was very excited to read Jane Austen in July is because July is one of my least favorite months. Even though I have a rough time with the cold nowadays, the heat's not much better, heat and humidity. And some bad things have happened in my life in July. And one of the worst things this year, out Freddie, this year, it's going to be 20 years since that thing happened. So I would really like to distract myself with pleasant things such as Jane Austen. Um, it's weird the death anniversary is so close to Jane Austen's that it's kind of like morbidly enjoyable to be reading Jane Austen right now. But you know what? I have so much fun doing this. I love the fact that a lot of other people are doing this. I have no idea how many people participate in Jane Austen July, but I think it's a wonderful idea. And it came, the hosts are Katie from Books and Things, and Marissa from Blatantly Bookish, and Claudia at Spencer's Library. And I know they're going to do some wonderful things with this month if they can. And just hosting it in general is a wonderful thing. I'm glad that they are able to bring this to us every year. And I'm going to try to do a couple other Jane Austen related activities, not having to do with this. I already have some event booked up with Jane Austen Society stuff, and I hope it works out. Um, and I'll let you know what happens, because if it does, it could be pretty amazing, though I won't be, documenting it too much. If it works out, it's Jane Austen and tea. So, I mean, it's like tailor-made for me. But anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about me and what I'm going to read. So here are the prompts, and some of them I'm adhering to. That's a word, adhering to. And some of them I'm making a little bit, taking liberties, because one must to fit it into one's schedule. So the first prompt, and this is the basic requirement for Jane Austen July, is just to read one of her 6 novels. If you do that, you've already passed. But so that's like the minimum. And the group read's going to be Mansfield Park. I have this edition right now that I'm going to be reading from, I think. And I believe it's only my 3rd time reading this. I could be wrong. I might have missed one, but I was checking my records, and I believe I've only read it twice. It is kind of cool because I'm pretty sure I read Mansfield Park somewhere in early 1996 the first time. And I finished reading all of Jane Austen's novels in July of 1996. There's reasons why I specifically remember that. So this is also the 30th anniversary. 30th? Yeah. Of my completing Jane Austen's novels. So good anniversary. Let's stop thinking about the sad ones. And I like Mansfield Park. I don't think it's my top favorite. It's definitely not. But when I first read it, I was very much on board and rooting for Fanny. And I think I was feeling very much, um, I related very much to her during those days. I don't know if I still do. In some ways, I do, because my health isn't great, but not so much because of that specifically, but because in the book, she tends to tire out kind of quickly. Um, which implies that she doesn't have the best robust health. It doesn't mean that she's terribly sick. But even back in the 90s, when I was at my peak, physical form, I was still tired pretty easily compared to people around my age. So not like scary tired, just couldn't keep up as much. And I think that in itself really made me enjoy Fanny Price, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, she's a little dull," compared to, say, Elizabeth Bennet, which came in the novel right before, released right before Mansfield Park. So I'm sure people made comparisons, and so Fanny Price doesn't really shine in that way. But I still think she's a great character. It's a great book, and I'm very excited. It's almost like I'm uh, wrapping up, doing a wrap up. But anyway, I have just so much to say about Jane Austen. So so I'm gonna keep talking. So the next challenge or prompt is to I can't read something by Jane Austen that is not one of her main six novels. Now, this is one where I'm going to take some liberties this year. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to really devote to reading an entire book, so I will try to read some of her letters. And there you go. The third one is to read something. Wait, I already said that. No, read. My eyes are terrible. Read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen and her time. Now, this is one of my favorite of all of Jane Austen July, because this is something I do basically all year anyway. Whenever a book comes out about Jane Austen or that period of time, I tend to pick it up and try to read it. And you'll see at least one book that I'm currently reading or have as currently reading, but then realized I better just shift it to July. And well, here it is. I'll just show it to you right away. It's the one library book in this category, and it's called Wild for Austen, A Rebellious, Subversive, and Untamed Jane by Devone Lucer. I hope I said her name correctly. I think I've read another book by her, so I really hope I said it correctly. Anyway, this I already started. I don't want to get into it too much, but it does talk a bit about what the title said, a bit how each of her books and parts of her life were not completely status quo and normal, and there were things in which her characters challenged the norms, and the word wild is brought up numerous times in the book, so that's something too, I suppose. Sometimes I think it's a little too much just from what I've read so far. It's like da da da, wild. Look, wild. Oh, she mentioned it again. It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, and the word that makes everybody go nuts. So yeah, I don't know about that. All right, but that's not all. I also include a reread. I saw this when I was in Chicago last year visiting my sister, and I saw it in a bookshop, and then I said, wow, I've read this book already, but it's such a beautiful edition. I have to have it. And this is John Mullins. It's the 250th edition, and What Matters in Jane Austen, 20 Essential Questions Answered. I loved this book. It was just such a great study of her novels, and I had such a good time with it when I first read it. I don't remember which year it was, either 2020, 2021, somewhere in that vicinity. Um, his books are great, but I found out from his book about Charles Dickens that it's really worth it to have read the books before you read this one. So I would say, unless you like being spoiled, finish the six novels, especially the six novels, the main six novels, beforehand. But I would love to reread this. And what a pretty book! I can't get over it. Anyway, so this is a book I started last year and didn't really get to finish. So I would like to continue, and because it looked like it was good. I even have a nice bookmark in here with not a lot of progress. This is Janet Todd's Living with Jane Austen. So let's hope I can get to that one as well. I think it's about Janet Todd and her reading Jane Austen, but I don't remember all the details, so We shall find out together, maybe. Maybe. See if I get to it. Like I said, a lot of books. And good tea. Anyway, this is a book I started because when I went to a recent Jane Austen event, this author was there and I wanted to start. So I don't know. It's nice to be familiar with someone's work when you see them. But I didn't get very far. It's psychology and yes, it relates to Jane Austen, but it's a little bit of a lot to read. And but I do like psychological books to a point. I did study some psychology when I was in school, when I wasn't reading Jane Austen on the sly. But nevertheless, this is Jane on the Brain, Exploring the Science of Social Intelligence with Jane Austen by Wendy Jones. So I got a discontinued library book copy of it as well. So it looks like a library book, but it is no longer. It is mine. So exciting. So those are some nonfictions that I could very much see myself diving into. I picture myself, when I think about reading Jane Austen books or Jane Austen related books, I picture myself like Scrooge McDuck jumping into his coins, except it's me jumping into books. I don't think either one would be very comfortable, but mentally I'm doing that. So hopefully I'll get to at least one or two of these. Now here's another one where I have some books that I probably won't get to all of them, but no apologies here. Read a retelling of a Jane Austen book or a work of historical fiction set in Jane Austen's time. Now, I have the next, possibly the last, I'm not sure, of Claudia Gray's novels. I think it's called The Fatal Unpleasantness at Netherfield. Something along those lines. I might have that wrong. But it's on hold at the library and it's an ebook. Hopefully it will be supported by my Kindle that I have, because sometimes it's not. I don't know why. But I hope it is, because then that would be great to be able to read it during that time period. I've loved the book so far. It takes the actual Jane Austen characters and gives them murder mysteries or other types of mysteries, mostly murder though. And the main protagonist, sort of the detectives, is a daughter of Catherine from Northanger Abbey and her husband, in case you haven't read it, spoilers, and the daughter of the Darcys, the son of the Darcys. And so it's been a bit of a will they, won't they situation for a long time. Still not sure, hoping if it's in the spirit of Jane Austen, one thinks they'll get together eventually and get married, right? But we will find out. And it just brings in characters from the books in such a way that I think is pretty tidy and fun so far. So this is the library book. It's just released over here. I'm not sure elsewhere how long it's been out, but I only read one chapter, so I can't tell you too much about it. But this is based on the book Emma, which, again, not my favorite of Jane Austen's books, but still love. And okay, Freddie's off my lap now. I can concentrate, but that's okay. It's a privilege. This is called A Very Vexing Murder. Harriet Smith Investigates a Murder Most Austen by Lucy Andrew. Is it just me, or a lot of these names are like similar? I don't know. Anyway, a lot of these names have like first name, last names, or similar sounding names for some reason to me. Maybe it's just me having a moment. I have a first name, last name, so no mockery there. Anyway, so this is the book. Very pink. Very pink. Makes me want little pink pastries and stuff, you know, and to go to, what's that place in London that I'm always talking about and I always forget what it's called, on Avery Street and Peggy Portion. Yes, reminds me of something like that. One of these just awesome Instagrammable, as they call it, patisseries. Anyway, so Harriet Smith, you know, from what I can tell just from the first chapter, they're going to do something very different with her. And she's always been a person in the books that I kind of felt bad for, but also was like, what is up with her? Like, why is she so the way she is? So the direction they're going to take with this, I would like to see how it's pulled off. I really hope it's fun and entertaining. I do love a good mystery, and I love a Jane Austen related mystery. And this is another one that I've had for a while. I got it from Book Off. Yes, one of my many $1 book offs, and I'm trying very hard. This is an old reference because I haven't talked about it too much recently, but I used to do a ton of book hauls from Book Off, which is a bookshop. It's a chain, but there's a location in Midtown not too far from my office place, my workplace, and I used to go there a couple of times a week and just pick up tons of books. And then I realized I was being unrealistic, and thankfully, I hate to say thankfully, but because of my knees, going there and going up the stairs to the book section makes it a little more daunting. So I don't go there as often, and I just really can't. So I'm rambling, but one of the things I've been trying to do is anytime I find one of those many $1 books, I get more determined to read them for some reason, because I said, man, all that time I spent buying those books and schlepping them back and forth, you know what? It would be really nice to actually read them. So this is a book that takes place in Brooklyn, and bit of gentrifying going on, and so it's a Pride and Prejudice retelling, or remix as they call it. I'm gonna probably butcher this last name, I'm so sorry, or probably first name too. Pride by Ibi Zoboi. I'm so sorry. Is it Zoboi or Zobwa? Zobwa? I do not know. I apologize. I should have looked at that. It's probably Zobwa because I think her last name is French. But anyway, sorry for the writer. I am excited about this because it also takes place in a part of Brooklyn where I believe it was where my mom grew up. So it's kind of fun to have a Jane Austen retelling in I don't know if I say relatable because I didn't grow up there, but I grew up with stories, but that was in the 1950s, so I don't know what to say. I don't know why I'm talking like this. But anyway, so I hope I can get to this year. That would be really cool. I like the design of it, and it also came with I don't know if you call this a postcard or it's a little letter in here, and it says, I shall read this. Dear reader, I love letters because that's very Jane Austen related, Welcome to Bushwick. I loved writing this sweet story set in the neighborhood I grew up in. It's filled with love, laughter, hopes, and dreams. In the heart of it all is Zuri Benitez, a girl caught between the community she loves and the boy who challenges her ideas about him, herself, and the world. This Pride and Prejudice remix has a beat of its own, but the rhythm is familiar, so step into these pages as if they're a big block party and enjoy. From Brooklyn with love. So that sounds kind of cool, and yes, I haven't seen a block party in a while, so that might be a little nostalgic. We shall see. So those are a lot of the books I've chosen. Now here is a real wild card. I don't know if I should say wild card, but whatever I call it. I got this in the West Sider bookshop in New York, Upper West Side, not too far from Alice's Teacup. I love to connect things with tea places. And one of my goals this year that I might make, but I'm probably just going to squeak to a very close situation. I'm trying to, before I hit a milestone year in my own life, or at least by the end of the year. That's good enough, really. I would like to have read at least half of Anthony Trollope's novels. And I'm getting close, but I don't know if I'll make it. But I'm trying to fit him into everything. And this is one of his historical fiction books. Maybe his only one, La Vendée. Like, because it kind of looks like fiancé. I am butchering French left and right today. But it's supposed to take place around in 1793, around the Revolution, and that is definitely a time period where Jane Austen was alive. So that would be kind of cool to incorporate that, but I'm already reading another book by Anthony Trollope that doesn't take place during that time, I don't think. So it might be a stretch. But I may give it a shot. I don't know how good this one is, but I might give it a shot. Anyway, staring into my soul. Is he staring into your soul? Dun dun. Anyway. What is this picture? It's sorry, I'm doing this kind of reading now. Self-portrait by John Hazlitt. Is that Hazlitt? As in the essays? Am I making a Helene Hanff connection? I made a Helene Hanff connection in the middle of Jane Austen July. Anywho. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, here's another one I'm probably not going to be able to do. Read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen. So I did not pick a book. It's highly unlikely that I will be able to pick a book because I just don't see it happening. Because a whole book, I don't think I can do. So I might do one of my poor excuses and read a poem or two. I haven't read too many Regency era poems in a while, and there's plenty to choose from of my favorites. Keats and Shelley and other people, Wordsworth and Byron and many others, Coleridge, I think, and or whomever. So it would be nice if I could do that. And that's probably as far as I'm going to go. I don't want to make any promises or say, oh, I'm definitely going to read this and that, because I don't want to. I've already given myself enough pressure in this choice of books. I don't want to go further. Anyway, but you know, that might change. So the next one is watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen book. So I don't know which one I'm going to choose. I'm gonna go by mood. I put a good number of my streaming channels on hold for the month of July so I could concentrate on reading. But there's gonna be times where I feel like watching something, and so I will try to pick at the time. I'm thinking almost doing Sense and Sensibility of 1995 because Mansfield Park, um, I don't really like those adaptations. But Sense and Sensibility, since there's one coming out in like, I think in the United States it's in October, and the trailer just came out, and it looks good, if a little dark. If you see how I read things now with my eyes, that might be a little hard to see. I'm like, can you adjust the grading a little bit? But it looks good. It still looks good. It looks better than a lot of other recent adaptations, so that might be a possibility. I'm not saying a certain possibility, but it might be. And the next one and last is watch something with a connection to Jane Austen that is not a direct adaptation. So I haven't finished, because I saved it for now. I haven't finished the other Bennet sister, and I've enjoyed it so far. So I think I might just finish that up and call it a day with that, because it is based on a Jane Austen novel, obviously Pride and Prejudice, but it's more of a sequel. I might come up with something else, or I might just get into watching something as time goes on. Not too long ago, I watched the Jane Austen book club, which is fun. It came out around, I don't remember the exact year, maybe 2007. I read the book beforehand. The writer, Karen Joy Fowler, if I remember correctly, wrote another book in more recent years called Booth, which is not related at all to Jane Austen, or not really related to Jane Austen. I'm sure I could find a connection if I really want to. But it is really good. So if you have a chance to read that at some point, recommend very much. So yeah, that could be a possibility. There's so many wonderful documentaries, and I'm going to a Jane Austen event, if all goes well, next month. So that might be my way of tying this all together. I'm very excited about July now, except for the fact that I'm already feeling warm and don't really care for that. I like somewhere in between hot and cold, so actually warm, but I guess not the right kind of warm. Anyway, I am going on about weather. Hate to do that. I know there's places that have had far worse heat wave in recent days, so who am I to say? Anyway, so I'm excited about these choices, and like I said, I might switch some things up and read other things here and there, but I'm definitely going for Mansfield Park, and yeah, and a couple of these I'm sure to at least make some progress in, and I hope to make more progress than I expect. Wouldn't that be great? Anything's possible. So please let me know in the comments if you have any plans for Jane Austen July, if you have any recommendations for, say, adaptations or something to watch, because that's probably the one I would be the most excited about hearing about. But anything that you want to talk about related to Jane Austen, please let me know in the comments. Love to read your thoughts on Jane Austen and such related things, even about the Regency period. I'm not a Bridgerton person, but I will say there was at least one Doctor Who episode in recent years. I'm not rambling on about Doctor Who right now because I have a lot to say about that, and that's going to go on forever. But there was one a couple of years ago that was Bridgerton inspired, so it took place during Jane Austen's time. So that might be a recommended thing. Or there was also another episode where they went back to Shelley and Byron and Mary Shelley, etc. But anyway, why was I talking about Doctor Who? I don't know. I just went off there. But anyway, yes. So, and if you like talking about Jane Austen or other historical type books or Victorian books, because that's definitely something I'm interested in a few months we'll talk a lot more about, please subscribe if possible, and like, and all the things. And if you can enjoy a cup of tea in July, iced or not, hope you can do so. So anyway, this is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and Jane Austen filled day. Bye.